for allowing me to talk here today. I'll just start off by saying I started my career with the New York State Department of Correctional Services, where I worked for 10 years, Green Haven and Fishkill Correctional Facility. The next 16 and a half I spent as a senior investigator for the New York State Attorney General's office, and the last 10 I spent with the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. What I'm here to talk about today is when I was a little girl, how my dad taught me how to shoot a gun. I live in Cold Spring, which is where all my family's from, and we used to go down the railroad tracks between the Hudson River and the railroad tracks, where we would, all of us down there in Cold Spring, would shoot guns until Metro North prohibited it. My dad actually built a range in the basement of our house. Imagine doing that today. Anyway, when I turned 21 years old, I got my full carry pistol permit here in Putnam County. When I was 23 years old, I became a firearms instructor certified by the Municipal Police Training Council. I later became a master instructor. A year later, in 1983, I found myself staring down the barrel of a Smith & Wesson .38 Special revolver with 2 green card immigrants on the other side. Following that incident, some years later, I found myself in a period of domestic violence. Seconds or minutes feel like hours when you dial 911 and you're waiting for help to arrive. And those seconds or minutes can be the difference between life and death. Without the right to protect myself under the Second Amendment, I might not be here today. In 1996, the most important reason in my life for the Second Amendment was born. Our children are our most precious treasures. They are gifts from God. Being able to protect my son and keeping him safe from harm is second to nothing. The Second Amendment provides me that right. In 2009, after 31 years of marriage, I became a single mother. Once again, raising my awareness of the importance of the Second Amendment while living alone with my son. My constitutional right to keep and bear arms has provided me with a sense of security now for almost 40 years. Bearing arms has become a part of who I am. It is no different than the clothing I wear every day. Without it, I do not feel whole. I sleep better at night knowing my family and my home is protected by the Second Amendment. Whether I am dining out, shopping, or in a movie theater, I feel safer knowing that if my family and I are confronted by evil or encounter a shooter, that I am not completely helpless with no opportunity to protect myself and my family. Trying to reason with criminal intent, substance abuse, or mental health issues is often unsuccessful. Carrying a firearm doesn't guarantee that I won't be a victim of a violent crime, but it does, however, level the playing field and reduces my degree of vulnerability. I never want to be in a situation where I have no ability whatsoever to protect myself, my children, or my family. It's ridiculous to think that prohibiting firearms will protect law-abiding citizens. To the contrary, it turns each and every one of us into potential victims. Prohibition didn't work with alcohol when it was outlawed. And we continue every day to lose the war on drugs declared in the 1970s. I encourage everyone to exercise their right under the Second Amendment and get a pistol permit. And I strongly encourage all females to explore their options under the Second Amendment to reduce or eliminate their risk of being a victim. Nothing in the entire feminist movement has provided more equality to women than the right to keep and bear arms. I hope for and I look forward to the enactment someday of national reciprocity under the Trump administration. Thank you very much.